Hi swimmers, I wanted to jump on here and do a quick update for this video about stability exercises for the midframe. The update is based on a research paper that I came across 2 days after I uploaded this video, so I decided to make an addition on the front end of the video. The research paper was just published in the 2024 January-February edition of the Scientific Journal of Rehabilitation Medicine. Its title is Effect of Core Stability Exercises on Shoulder Pain, Muscle Strength, and Range of Motion in Female Swimmers with Shoulder Impingement Syndrome, or what they refer to as SIS. The study used a population of 20 female swimmers, all diagnosed with impingement syndrome. The researchers split the group in half, with 10 getting exercises and the other 10 as a control group. All participants had at least 3 years of regular swimming, experienced shoulder pain, and were not under any therapeutic intervention before the study. Both groups underwent measurements for pain level, shoulder range of motion, and shoulder muscle strength. The exercise group had 3 sessions per week for 90 minutes each. To add intensity, they increased the number of repetitions and reduced the rest period. So here's what we already know. Shoulder joint pain is one of the most common musculoskeletal problems among swimmers. The authors cite a study which places the prevalence at 44 to 65%. The authors list several risk factors, including reduction in the shoulder joint range of motion, shoulder weakness, age, competition levels, swimming technique, and what they described as applying abnormal forces to overcome the resisting force of water. What they're talking about here is using any equipment, tool, or type of practice set which requires you to apply excessive force during the catch phase of the stroke. The authors describe impingement syndrome to have several complications, including localized pain, decreased range of motion, lower strength and endurance of the shoulder girdle muscles, followed by fatigue, resulting in decreased performance. The authors cite existing studies which link maintaining the strength of the midframe to reducing the applied forces on the upper extremity during the stroke. But the aim of this study was to investigate the effect of core or midframe stability exercises on shoulder pain, muscle strength, and shoulder range of motion. So let's get into the good stuff with their conclusion. I'm just going to read it verbatim right off my copy. Based on the results of this study, the core stability exercises reduce the shoulder pain and increase the range of motion and muscle strength of shoulder girdle in female swimmers with SIS. Previous studies have shown that the muscle weakness and decreased core stability may lead to the implementation of incorrect technique and increases the risk of shoulder injuries in swimmers. By strengthening the core muscles and increasing the stability of this region, the stability of the shoulder joint increases. Therefore, core stability exercises can reduce the pressure on the upper limb during strokes in swimmers and pain. Relieving pain and loss of neuromuscular inhibition due to the implementation of core stability exercises allow a person to move the upper limb in its full range of motion and increase the range of motion. Performing core stability exercises is recommended to reduce pain and improve shoulder girdle function in female swimmers with SIS. The findings of the authors support the direction you're going in by starting the stability exercises for the midframe presented in this video and adding them to a regular dry land conditioning effort. If you'll remember, one of the items I covered in the Zoom meeting is that learning to swim is about more than just learning a stroke. Okay, now on to the main content of the video. Hi swimmers, and welcome to part 2 of the pre-exercises. This video follows the scapular exercises and covers the important subject of mid-frame or core stability and strength. So this begs the question of why do I ask you to start these exercises before we begin our water sessions, and why make them part of your regular swim training? After all, don't we get enough activity just through the act of swimming itself? And why can't we just jump in and grind our way through training the problem areas? The short and long answer is no. Every athlete requires some form of dry land conditioning and training. And while we don't usually see this aspect of training emphasized for stroke improvement, recreation, fitness, swimming, and even event swimming, I believe it is vitally important to make sure our bones, muscles, and minds are up to the task. What I'm attempting to do here is create what one might call a dynamic mid-frame control by increasing our neuromuscular messaging to improve our rate of bodily coordination. The guiding principles here are twofold. First, start our training in a balanced and complete fashion for maximum movement and longevity, so we're not setting ourselves up for injuries due to muscular imbalance, overuse, or dysfunction. Second, training in this fashion also improves the chances that we can be a more complete and successful swimmer once the body is tuned into and capable of the synchronous movements which are required during a swim stroke. I found this a lot easier to explore and work on any imbalance on land before we try to correct it in the water. The intention in training these 5 mid-frame areas is to bring these motions and control over into the functional side of swimming. Let me remind you that the human body is not symmetrical. We have differences from left to right, front to back, and diagonally in form and function. A regular effort to train these 5 areas will wake up the underused muscles and balance them with any overused or dominant areas to increase the likelihood of making technique and performance improvements long-lasting. The exercises cover areas crucial to muscular demands placed onto the body during swimming. These areas are the anterior, the lateral, the posterior, the diagonal in the front and rear, or the magic X, as I like to call it, with the 5th one being hip flexion. The muscular demands made on the midframe are most important during the movements of rotation, active streamline, extension, and kick. The midframe or core connects with the front and rear frame. It acts to improve our overall balance, stability, body position, alignment, and breathing in the water. Let me emphasize that the improvements in the midframe go a long way toward improving technique, keeping us injury-free, as well as resulting improvements for endurance and performance. The exercises are basic, simple, and straightforward. Some of you will be familiar with these exercises and some not. Some of you may come to realize that you've been overtraining just one aspect and undertraining others based on how easy or challenging you find the exercises. So let me list the 5 areas, the muscles, and their complementary exercise you'll be performing. Anterior midframe. For the rectus abdominis and inner and outer obliques, we'll do plank. Yes, good old plank. Lateral midframe for the obliques and quadratus lumborum will be side plank, which works the length of the body line from the shoulder through the lower leg. Posterior midframe for the glutes and muscles in the lumbar spine will be hip bridge. Diagonal midframe works everything from one shoulder to the opposite hip on the anterior and posterior side. For the anterior aspect, we have bird dog and dead bug. For the posterior aspect, we'll use hip bridge with a one leg raise variation. Let me emphasize that when we initiate any opposite arm and leg motion during bird dog and dead bug, please make an attempt to start the opposing arm and leg moving at the same moment. Doing this will add the benefit of making the brain get used to simultaneous movements from opposite diagonal limbs, something which is absolutely crucial in a well-balanced and stable body position and alignment. I call these bird dog swim and dead bug swim. The final area is hip flexion. For the hip flexors, we'll do a mountain climber variation which involves a positional hold. These exercises lend themselves to a circuit with repetitions of 30 seconds on and 10 seconds rest between each exercise. In addition to this, Taylor went one step further and created a flow which involves blending all of the elements into one workout. Just for fun, Taylor threw in 2 extra exercises, the hollow hold and a really fun one, penguin toe taps. The extra one I added is called the sumo wrestler or horse stance. It provides really great leg, knee, hip, and core work, but its biggest benefit is how it provides us an opportunity to grow our mental toughness using patient concentration through just one exercise. I encourage you to start with 5 or 10 seconds and add on in 5-second intervals. A word of warning, make sure you don't stay down too long or you might find yourself getting stuck. Let's go join Taylor as she demonstrates the exercises.
Hello everyone, my name is Taylor and I'm going to take you guys through 9 different stability core exercises and then we're going to end with a little leg exercise. The first one is going to be a plank. Now with the plank, you want to make sure that your wrist is in line with your shoulders and your feet are in line with your hips. And you're just going to hold it here. To make it harder, you can go down and then you want to make sure your elbows in line with your shoulders, feet in the same position. And you're going to hold here. And that is going to be your plank. Now we're going to go into side planks. These are going to work your obliques more. Now, same thing as the normal plank. Now you're going to want to make sure your elbow is in line with your shoulder. Now this is going to be the easier way to do the side plank. You can stack your feet, you can stagger, whatever makes you feel more balanced. The biggest thing with this is keep your hips straight and you want to lift your hips off the mat. You're going to hold it here. To make it harder, you're going to want to stagger your feet or keep them stacked if you have really good balance, but wherever you're comfortable with. I always stagger my feet with this one, and you're going to go up into a higher hold. Same thing, make sure your hips are straight, your wrist is in line with your shoulder, and that's going to be a harder version of the side plank. Now we're going to go into glute bridges. With the glute bridges, you're going to go down on the mat, all the way down, on your back. You want to make sure that your back is not necessarily flat, but you also want to make sure that you're comfortable. Your back has a natural arch in it, so you don't have to worry about being super conscious about having it flat. You want to bring your heels to your glutes, and you're going to push all the way up with your whole foot. Not just your heels, your whole foot. You can have your hands here, or you can have your hands at your side, whatever you're comfortable with. Now that is the glute bridge. And now I'm going to show you guys a single leg glute bridge. So in the same position as the glute bridge, you're going to go down on your mat. And now the working leg is going to stay in the same position. The non-working leg, I'm going to have you go all the way out. I'm first going to show you guys a different version, to make it a little easier, and then I'm going to show you another version to make it a little harder. So the easier version is you're just going to, same thing as a glute bridge, you're going to bring your hips up, drag that heel just a little bit, you're going to come all the way back down. This is going to focus also on your hamstring and a little bit of your glutes as well, and your deep core muscles called your transverse abdominal muscle, and you're going to come back down. To make it a little bit harder, I'm going to have you float that one leg up. You're going to get a little bit more range of motion. You're going to feel your hamstring just a little bit more, and then you're going to come back down. And always keep the hips square, and then always go from the ground and come all the way back up. And that's going to be your single leg glute bridge. Now we're going to go into dead bugs. So with dead bugs, you're going to go all the way down, just like we did for the glute bridges, but now you're going to bring your legs up, your hips, your knees, and your feet are going to be about a 90-degree angle, and your arms are going to be up. Now we're going to do what's called a dead bug swim, and all that means is you're going to move your arm and your leg at the same time. So you want to move your opposite arm and leg as well. So I'm going to start with my right hand with my left leg. You're going to go all the way down, same time, come all the way back up. So when your hand starts to go, your foot starts to go. So you should be touching the ground at the same time your heel and your fingers are touching the ground. To make it a little bit easier, you're going to also start in the same position, but instead of going all the way to the ground, you're going to go down on the mat, bring it back up. Down on the mat, you're going to do kind of like more of an arch. The biggest thing with this one is you want to make sure you keep your feet and your legs 90 degree. You don't start relaxing here. What this one is targeting your whole core, your abs, from your obliques, your transverse. This is a big one. Big stability exercise. And then you're going to come all the way back up. And there you have it. That is your dead bug swim. Now we're going to do bird dog swims. So it's the same thing as the dead bug, but now I'm going to have you guys flip over on your hands and knees. Same thing as the high plank. You want to make sure your wrist is in line with your shoulders. And we're going to do, like I said, bird dog swim, just like we did dead bug swim. Same thing. You want to move your arm and your leg at the same time. So you're going to move my right arm with my left leg all the way up, keeping my hips straight and square. Don't be swinging around. Come back up. This is a big stability exercise, so you want to make sure you do this one slow and controlled. Try to get your arm up to your ear and come all the way back down. You kind of want to pretend if you had a cup of water on your hips, that if you were doing this motion, it would stay. So you really want to focus more so, not so much with your arms and legs, with your hips. You want to keep your hips really still. Now to make this one a lot harder, you're going to go into a high plank. Now this one's challenging, so I would definitely, sometimes you do have to move your leg before you move your arm, but do your best. I always stagger my stance just for balance. And you're going to move your hand and your foot. Try to do it at the same time. Up, and then you're going to come back down. Can't hold this one as long, but if you can, that's pretty good. Opposite, and then come right back down. And like I said, that one is a lot harder, but you always can give it a try and see how you like it. And that is the bird dog swim. Now we're going to go into mountain climbers. And we're going to do these a little different than the cardio version. We're going to hold these in isometric hold. And same thing as the high planks. You're going to go into high plank, wrist line with your shoulders, like always. Your legs are going to be about hip width apart, including your feet. And you're going to drive one leg up. Now you can round your back just a little bit to really drive that leg up. You're going to drive it up, hold it for a couple seconds, bring it back down. Drive it up, hold it for a couple seconds, bring it back down. Make sure you're not finding yourself arching your back. You want to make a table with your back. To make this one a little easier, you're going to do same positioning, but your feet or your legs are on the ground. You're going to drive your knee up, bring it back down. Drive your knee up and bring it back down. Still works your abs just as well. And those are your slow mountain climbers. Now we're going to get into the transverse abs. A little more focus on these. I'm going to show you guys 2 different exercises with them. The first one I'm going to show you is going to be the hollow body holds. And these are going to be on, you're going to sit on your butt. Your feet are going to be on the ground. I always recommend starting with your feet on the ground and kind of playing around with this one, because you can play around with this one pretty well to kind of find whatever you're comfortable with, because it can be really difficult. So you're going to start with your feet on the ground, keep your chest up, don't round your back, because if you round your back's just going to hurt over time. So really focus on keeping your shoulders back, keeping your spine neutral. Hands, I just kind of leave on my side. You can also hold them out here, and you're just going to come back. You don't have to do much, and you're going to notice you're going to feel it, and keep your shoulders back. If this is too easy, you can kind of come all the way down. If it's too easy, you can take your feet off. This is the hardest version. So you can also hear, if this is kind of a struggle, you can bring your hands back here and play along with your feet. So you can put your feet out here. The higher your feet are and the knees are closer to you, the easier it's going to be. So you can kind of play around with this one. I always recommend just leave the feet on the ground and come back and see if you're comfortable. Use your hands, and if it's too easy, start using your legs. But that is going to be the hollow body hold. Now, the next exercise I'm going to show you guys is going to be toe taps, penguins. This is also going to focus on your transverse abs. And this one, you're going to go on your back like the glute bridges. Tuck your toes and your heels up to your glutes. This one, you are going to need your arms straight out. And you're going to lift the upper part of your back, your scapula, up, lift your chest up, and you're just going to swing side to side. Now, you don't want to reach side to side. You want to use your whole core. So your other arm should be moving at the same time. You're just going to come back to back. And those are your toe taps or your penguins. Lastly, I'm going to show you guys how to do sumo squats. So these are the little extra leg exercise. So you're going to stand up. Sumo squats, I'm going to have you guys hold it. So it's going to work on a little bit more of your mental toughness. Now, all sumo means is wider than hip width. So you're just going to go out a little bit. If you want to come out all the way, you can, but it's really whatever makes you more comfortable. Another thing with sumo squats is you want to make sure your toes are outwards, not straight forward. And always, always, no matter what you're doing, knees align with your toes. Another thing, you want to make sure you set your hips back. And what I mean by that is I can show you guys from a side view, is if I'm going to start squatting, I'm not going to want to squat here. Don't drive your knees forward. You want to set your hips back kind of like you're sitting on a chair behind you. You set your hips back, come down, keep your chest up, and come up. Also, try your best to get your legs, quads parallel to the ground, and then come back up, keeping your knees in line with your toes. So you can also kind of use the cue like you're spreading the floor apart while you're coming down, just to make sure your knees stay in line with your toes. And those are the sumo squats. Now I'm going to take you guys through an entire workout. We're going to hold most exercises for around 20 seconds. I'm going to keep it on my watch. Some of them we're going to do for reps, but I'll walk you guys through all of that. The first thing we're going to do is going to be the plank. And like I said, down here is going to be harder. Up higher is going to be easier. I'm going to show you guys from down here. We're going to hold these for 20 seconds, and then we're going to go right into the side planks for 20 seconds. So I'll give a little bit of time for transitioning, but let's get into it. So go into the regular plank, elbows line with your shoulders, feet hip width apart, and let's hold it out. Really be cautious to not start putting your back down. Keep your back up, stick your booty up. Make a table with your back. Already halfway through. You're gonna hold it out. Don't forget to breathe. Keep going. All right, now we're gonna go into the side planks. You're just gonna, doesn't matter what side you start on, just make sure you do the other arm. And side planks, we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Lift your hip up. And remember, if you wanna do the harder way, you can go into that high plank on that one hand, make it a lot harder. You can also, with this hand here, you can stick it up here. Doesn't matter. Keep the hips straight. Got 5 more seconds, and we're gonna flip to the other side. Good. All right. Now we're gonna flip to the other side, get the other oblique. Start my timer up. 3, 2, 1. Go up. Keep the hips straight. I can show you guys this. Keep holding it. This is gonna be the harder version. Hold it, hold it. I like to have my arm up here just for balance. Keep everything square. Good. Keep going. All right. Relax for a second. We're gonna go into the glute bridges now. So with the glute bridges, all the way down. Now we're gonna do this one for reps because for time, I want you guys to really focus on going through the motion and not going for all this time and getting as many as you can in. Because we wanna make sure each one is their own little exercise. So here, we're gonna do 10, so you guys can follow my lead. I always put my hands on my side, and we'll start. Go up, squeeze your glutes, down, we're gonna do 10, up, down, that's 2, up, down, 3, go up, squeeze the glutes, down, that's 4, and down, that's 5, halfway through. Go on up, squeeze the glutes, keep the knees in line with your toes, down, 6, up, and down, 7, up, down, 8, 2 more, up, all the way down, 9, and up, hold it, squeeze, down, there's 10. Now we're gonna do single leg. We're gonna do 5 on each leg. So remember, easy version, keep your foot on the ground. Harder version, float it up. I'm gonna float it up. Same thing as the glute bridge. We're gonna do 5, so follow my lead. Go up, down, good, keep the hips straight. Up, down, there's 2. Up, down, 3, you're gonna feel your hamstring. Up, down, there's 4, going up, down, there's 5, right, and we'll switch. Same thing, just doing the other leg. And up, down, there's 1, up, down, there's 2, up, down, 3, 2 more, up, down, 4, up, last one, squeeze, 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 hold it, and down, there's 5. And then we're gonna go right into our dead bug swims from here. So your arms straight up, your knees, hips, and ankles, 90 degrees. And now I'm gonna have you guys do this one for reps as well. We're gonna do 10, so 5 on each side. Remember, opposite. Go all the way down, bring it back up. All the way down, there's 2. Coming up, 3. Your fingertips and your toes should be touching at the same time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Nice. And now we're gonna go into the bird dogs. So bird dogs, you're gonna come here. Remember, it's bird dog swims. You wanna do everything all at once. Feet hip width apart, wrist line with your shoulders. Same thing, 5 on each side. Slow and controlled. Go up, hold it, come all the way back down. There's 2, good. Go up, 3, up, 4, up, 5. Remember, reset each time. Up, here's 6, up, 7, up, 8, up, 9, and up, 10. Good. And now we're gonna do the hollow body holds. So we're gonna come back down into the glute bridge. And remember, here, you wanna sit up a little bit and keep your toes on the ground, lean back and hold. We're gonna do this one for time. This is gonna be hard. So if you start here and you're like, It's really hard. Come back up. You can kind of play around with this one a little bit. So let me get my timer going. All right. Chest up and go back and hold it. You should feel your whole core. It's okay if you get a little shaky. Just don't forget to breathe. Keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. Good. You got 5 seconds. You can do it. Hold it out. This one's hard. Good. All right, now we're gonna go down to a glute bridge. Same positioning. Doing penguins. Arms straight out. Get those triceps going. Lift the chest up. We're gonna do this one for time as well. So this one's a little bit of a faster motion. So you can begin. Just tap in the heels. Keep going. Keep the chest up. Look up at the sky. Don't look up at your legs. Want to keep your neck, your spine neutral. Keep going. Almost done. We got 3, 2, 1. Good. All right, now we're gonna go up for the sumo squats. So you're gonna stand all the way up. And like I said, we're gonna do these 4 times. So you're gonna hold that bottom position. We're gonna hold it for 20 seconds. So wider than hip width, toes out, knees line with toes. All right, I'm gonna have you set it back in 3, 2, 1. Good. I'm gonna set it back. I'm gonna have you hold it. Keep your chest up. Just hold this out. You're gonna feel it burning through your quads, your calves, but you can do it. We're already halfway through. So keep holding it. Go, go, go. Keep going. Keep going. Good. And slowly come on up. Good job, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed that little workout, and I'll see you next time.
Well, that's it for part 2 of the dry land training, which covers the mid-frame. As always, please don't hesitate to contact me to discuss any problem areas or questions you may have. Join Taylor and myself in part 3 when we'll work through back strengthening exercises specifically targeted for muscle groups important to the recovery and catch. So long for now.